Welcome to Iconstalk with your host, Clarence R. Wallace, your forum for positive and uplifting conversations. Today I'm here with incomparable Pat Russell, gospel artist, speaker, conference speaker, anointed by God. She and her husband, Wayne Russell, are co-pastors in Toronto. Lovely couple, they are anointed, and we're just going to have a wonderful conversation here today. I just want to say thanks to my host today, Mike Morani, allow us to use the Umbrella House here in the beautiful city of Toronto. If you look behind us, you see the iconic CN Tower. What a beautiful view. I mean, this is like $1 billion view. Anyhow, without any further ado, I'm going to introduce Pat Russell. Pat, just tell the audience a little bit about yourself and then we'll begin.
Hey everybody, it's good to be here. I was born in Birmingham, England, and came over to Canada in '72 with my family. We have lived here for over 50 years. We've made it home, 2 adult children, and we love life. We love life.
Awesome. So my first question to you, Pat, because I know you just love singing, and you're not just singing, you actually use it as ministry, and we're having a conversation right now, but I believe that music and singing, that's communication as well, and that's conversations that we're having, only that we're singing those conversations. And so I'm going to ask you this question, Pat. So could you start by sharing a bit about your background and how you began your journey as a worship leader, songwriter, and speaker?
You know, thank you so much for having me here.
You're welcome. Thanks for being here.
I'm so honored to be here just to empower and encourage your audience. And what led me to music was my mother. My mother loved music, and she introduced us all. There's 4 of us in our family. She introduced us all to music. My brother was trained in classical piano, and my other brother and I, we would sing. He would play drums, and we grew up singing. We went to 3 services on a Sunday. Yeah. But we used our musical gifting, and for me, as an only girl, I think I took it to another level, because as a girl, I got left home a lot, so I would sing my sorrows, and I would write, and I would journal. And so music has always been that part of me of expression. So I would dance like nobody was watching in the basement. You know, I would mimic what I saw on television, you know, the shows, the musicals. My father also loved music, and so music was always playing, whether it be reggae, whether it be classical, whether it be inspirational. So music has always played a vital part in who I am, and it's just a powerful way of expression, and also, you know, singing about nature and singing to the Lord. So it's a very significant part of my life.
Powerful. You know, she just said something, and I have this in the book I'm writing, Nourishment for the Soul, quotes she wrote by Clarence R. Wallace. I have a thing that I quote the Jamaicans saying, you know, dance a yard. They say practice or dance a yard before you dance abroad. And did she ever dance a yard? She don't know they dance. She sang at yard.
That's so true.
No, that's why you see. This is the reason why it's so important that we all prepare ourselves, and that's why I bring her here, because she has life experiences as well as she's gone through so many challenges. And just to do a little recap quickly, one of the reasons why I have someone who's a gospel artist and speaker on this forum is because she also brings with you the experience she's had and how she has overcome challenges. And remember, as I said, icons is from all walks of life. It doesn't have to be someone who's a celebrity, but I also consider her a celebrity and an icon as well. So anyway, I'm going to move on to the next question, Pat. Yeah. So the next question I have for you is this. What inspired you to write and complete your best-selling anthology, Stronger, Resilient Stories to Empower the Mind, Body, and Spirit?
When that book was compiled, it was in a time where it shouldn't have been done. So it was right at the beginning of COVID. Yes. And you know, when I look back on it, I think to myself, I've always been that person to vote for the underdog, or to push through hard times. I've always loved to share other people with other people. So I'm very much a connector.
Yes.
I believe that it's important to connect people who can empower other people. And so one of the things on my bucket list that I wanted to do was always to get a group of people together to write their stories that they could share with the world.
Yes.
Now, being a visionary means that you have to see the end goal and be willing to go through all the ups and downs to make it come together.
Yes.
But you see, the end goal was not about me. The end goal was that there were people in the world that needed to hear people's stories. And that's how I invited people to come on a line, because I'm very believing that everything that happens for a reason.
Yes.
But it's not only for you.
Exactly.
It's for other people.
Absolutely. I mean, that's just beautiful. I mean, that just goes right into my mantra that I go by: positively influencing the life of one to impact the life of many. Because I said it previously in a previous episode that a legacy is not about us. A legacy is for others, and that's why it's good for us to build good legacy and build foundation that when we move on, that generations to come will benefit from our life. So thank you for sharing that, and I thank you for the fact that that's the true spirit of an icon, really wanting to empower others, and I love that. I love that spirit. So again, just thank you for being here. All right, so can you tell us a little bit about your recent missions trip to Tanzania and what motivated you to undertake this journey?
Oh my goodness, everybody wants to go to Africa. Every second person you talk to wants to go to Africa.
Yes.
Now, I am not the girl that had always wanted to go to Africa. I thought maybe I'll get there one day, but I'm going to tell you this. When I landed in Tanzania, people have told me that something happened, and I can honestly tell you, the mission was to go and help build a plant that had been out there, but also to pour into an organization called Village of Hope, which is a village that takes in orphans and children who do not have their parents, or their parents cannot take care of them, and to build them up and to pour into them. So I went for 10 days. It was about 17 of us. And I'll tell you, when I landed in Africa, it's the first time, it was a different feeling. I can't describe it. Once you go, and if you go, you will be able to relate. I felt like I was home. And I've heard other people say that.
Yes.
I felt like I was home.
Yes.
And when we went to the Village of Hope, there was 2 branches in Tanzania. And one of the significant things that they do there is they really save children's lives. There's you might have seen people at some place around the world where their skin is very almost white.
Yes.
They're and I might not be saying the name right, but they're albino. That's it. They're albino.
Yeah.
I did not know that albino children that were born, that their life was pretty much at stake, that they were hunted. Now, we know about slavery.
Yes.
We know about the terrors and the wickedness of slavery.
Yes.
But to know that because of your skin, that you had nothing to do with, because of a gene that was off, you came out looking like this, that people actually hunted. And what the leaders of the Village of Hope have done is they have aligned themselves with somebody who was albino, but had a vision for their lives to be rescued, but also to help them grow, develop, get an education, and also make an impact in the world.
Wow.
And my heart is welling up as I talk about it, because they have saved so many lives, and they've advocated to the point that they have a seat in the UN to advocate for the lives of these individuals.
Oh, man.
And when you see people who have grown from childhood to adults and are now advocating for their own, I'm telling you, there's some powerful things that are happening over there. The children are amazing, because the leaders are pouring into these little children and giving them hope. And that's why it's called Village of Hope.
Beautiful. You know, Pat, you said when you go to Africa that you actually feel like you're home. You know that we're here in Toronto, but when you mentioned that, I honestly felt the anointing. I felt the Spirit on me, like I was present there. And it's I'm looking forward to going. I told Jake that I'm going to Kenya this year. And my plan is to be going there, because I know
going to be indescribable.
to talk about it and to be there, it's totally different.
It's true.
So really, thank you for sharing that. And it just shows you how our world is, and thank you for educating us on the fact that these historical things and things that are happening in today's world, that even we talk about being discriminated against being black, but being in a country where just a different shade of your skin, you know, that's why I have the quote that I wrote, that, you know, we should embrace like we're like the garden, right, of flowers with the different shades of colors, and we should embrace each other. And that's also things that we need to share, because of ignorance, people perform these things. Look at the beauty. I mean, they have a guy, a regular artist, King Yellowman, right? He would have probably been hunted down and killed. And look how he has been able to contribute to what the art that he does, right? Whether you prescribe to him or not, the fact that he was able to fulfill his purpose, right? So thank you so much. How did the mission trip impact your life personally and spiritually?
Personally, it caused me to be, it caused the I'm a very grateful person, but it caused gratitude to increase. It was almost rebuking for me, because when you go to Africa, let me tell you, Africa, everybody's an entrepreneur. Everybody's an entrepreneur. We over here, we make excuses as to why we can't do this, and, and I don't have enough of this, and I don't have enough of that. And I saw people who may not have financial well-being, may not look somewhere, but let me tell you, they're using every little thing that they can to make a living, to share what they have, to make, to change their financial situation. It changed me in a way. It made me more grateful, but it was also almost rebuking for me to say, stop with the excuses, stop with the small-mindedness, that everything that we have been given, everything that I have right now, I'm enough to help impact somebody's life. We're always looking for more in North America. How can I get more? But not a whole lot of us are using what we have to impact, to share, to be kind, to pour into. We don't need a lot of more of things. We need to pour out, because it's as you pour out. As I poured out into those children, as I spoke to those women, I felt like I was getting more in. It's a very unusual, it's an unusual concept to say that as you're giving out, you're actually getting back. I can't measure it in number, but I can measure it in value of life. That it did impact and change my life. I think every time we're given an opportunity to interact, to move around, to travel, to see something outside of our four walls, we have the opportunity to grow and to build on what we have.
Awesome. That's why I say, you know, church beyond walls, right? It's reaching the people, because when we reach the people, you said some things that was really so impactful. The scripture actually backs it up. It said the greatest of these must be the servant of all.
That's right.
Many times we're looking at what can we get.
That's right.
But what can we give? Because the more you give, the more you get. If you look at challenges within your community, challenges within our world, and you look for solutions, all the billionaires that we have in our world today, the Elon Musk, right? All of these guys, Jeff Bezos, all of these guys, they look for problems and find solutions. And the beautiful thing that you said about Africa is the fact that out of nothing they create something. Your creativity increases when you have very little. But here in North America especially, in the Western world where there's so much, people are getting lazy. They're not creative. They don't want to do things. So I hope you, audience, that you listen to what she said and really get inspired and stop making excuses as to why you don't start that business, why you don't start writing that book, why you don't produce that song, whatever, why you don't start your podcast or your channel, right? Just get at it. Just do it already.
Just do it.
Just do it. Now, in what ways did your presence and ministry impact the lives of the people you ministered to in Tanzania?
Oh, you know, before we even left, one of the things that was, it was repeated by several of the individuals that we interacted. They said, your timing for coming was what we needed, was perfect. We did not know how they were feeling. We knew some of the needs, but what we didn't know was that there was a common statement that said, we needed the encouragement that you brought us. other people have come, but they haven't impacted us the way that you impacted us.
Yes.
You pulled up your sleeves and you jumped in.
Yes.
And you just came among us.
Yes.
And I thought that was very, very impacting. I had young women crying in my arms because somebody listened to them.
Yes, yes.
Somebody stopped to listen to them.
Yes.
And not only did we listen, but I understand. And you know what it did for me, Clarence? One of the things it did for me was there was an aspect of my life that I thought I had given up on.
Right.
And it was like the Lord said, now do you see that what you have is needed?
Right.
And these women confirmed it.
Yes.
And they said, you have given us hope.
Yes.
You've given us what we need to go on. I was wanting to give up on this.
Right.
I was so discouraged from doing that, but you've given me hope.
Right.
And you know, we don't, like I said, you don't even have to hop on a plane. I just met somebody in the park this afternoon.
Yes.
And we just struck up a conversation. And we both connected and poured something into each other's lives. And this gentleman told me, his goal, his daily goal, is to make somebody smile.
Oh, that was beautiful, beautiful.
His daily goal was to make somebody smile every day.
Yes. You know, the things that people don't understand is that many times we consider material gifts. And you know, there's a scripture that says, a good man leave an inheritance for his children.
Yes.
But many times people limit that to material stuff. But you know, you can leave $1 billion, and the scripture says, a fool and his money will depart. So I was meditating on that recently, and I'm thinking the greatest impact and the greatest inheritance you can leave for your loved ones and for others is actually wisdom.
Yes, sir.
Right? And understanding.
Yes, sir.
And knowledge of how to navigate life.
Yes, sir.
Because if you have those skills and possess those skills, you can now be able to make wealth wherever you go.
Absolutely.
Right? It's not about just the material stuff, and we focus so much on that, not realizing we have so much to give just by being kind.
Absolutely.
So thanks for sharing that.
Yeah,
beautiful.
Absolutely.
Now, can you share any memorable experiences or stories from your time in Tanzania that particularly stood out to you? I think you kind of mentioned a few, but you might have some added stories to that.
There was a young lady that I met in Tanzania, and I'm like you. When I ask people their name, I usually ask them, do you know what that means?
Yeah.
Because I think when you understand the meaning of your name, there's two things. You kind of understand, and if you can ask, why, do you know how you got that name? My name is Patricia.
Yes.
It means noble one.
Yes.
My parents did not know that at the time.
Yes.
It's a whole story joke how my name came about, but it means noble one. And I believe that I've actually carried out that character. But I met this young lady, and she told me her name, and I said, do you know what it means? And she told me, she said it means believe. And I said, do you know anything that happened around your birth story? Her mother had her in the hospital. They told her that she might not live, that she might not survive when she was born. Her mother prayed.
Yes.
Her mother believed. And she said, I am going to name her Believe.
Beautiful.
Is a Tanzanian name for it. And as she's telling me this story, I looked at her and I said, do you realize that you're a masterpiece? That you have been created for good works?
Yes.
That God has a purpose for your life. And when you find that purpose, it's going to radically change your life. She started to cry.
Wow.
She started to cry. And actually, just before she told me what it meant, but I was speaking these things into her life, and she started to cry. And she said, yes, now I understand the purpose is to believe, but I thank you for reminding me of that, because I had lost, I was starting to lose hope.
Yes.
Because her mother was not well. She was starting to lose hope.
Yes.
And I said, you can't give up now. You've got to press in.
Yes.
I know things look dark and I know things look hard. That radically changed, that radically had a huge effect on my life, as well as seeing some of the albino individuals who had pressed through and who were living full lives.
Yes.
That in the past they may not have thought that they were going to live.
Right.
Seeing the little 3-year-old children go and wash their cup better than some adults. Adults here. But because somebody else believed in their worth.
Wow.
School was opened, uniforms were provided, and now they're getting an education to make a dent in their society.
Beautiful. Wow. What do I say to that? I say Sila.
Yes, stop and think about it.
Yeah, we got to think about that one.
Yeah.
Now, your book, Lord, I Trust You, Words of Encouragement, shares life lessons from your cancer journey.
Yes.
What prompted you to write this book?
Oh, I knew that what prompted me to write the book was that the fact that I had a diagnosis that was stage 3, that was rapidly growing breast cancer. I knew that I was going to survive it. I knew I was going to push through it, but I also knew that this was not just for me. I knew it from the get-go of the diagnosis because of things that had happened and because of what I really felt the Lord prompting me. And I said that I would use my voice. That was my commitment. I sung before, but I said I will use my voice to sing, to speak, to advocate, to encourage and to empower other women, other people, to know that one of the things that will help you get through a very difficult situation. I was 38 years old. I had 2 young children. I was living life. I was enjoying it. When you get a diagnosis like that, you kind of want to curl up and go in a corner. But I knew that I was going to fight through this.
Yes.
Because I had already seen myself, as a child, I had already seen myself on a world stage. I had already seen myself as a speaker. I had already seen that I was born to impact lives.
Right.
So I was going to use this negativity to promote positivity and encourage people to push through.
Beautiful. You know, I have a quote that I wrote about using the positive and the negative to create energy.
And that's what happens when you take a positive and a negative. Lord, I Trust You is just and I'm actually going to do a revamp on it, but it was to talk about my journey through it, but talk about the lessons that I learned through it. And again, one of the lessons that I learned is that God can be trusted in the good times, in the bad times, but you have to focus on winning. And from the get-go, from the time the doctor gave the diagnosis, I looked at my husband and I said, I will bless the Lord at all times. His praise will continually be in my mouth. I'm not going to stop, but I am going to push through. So it wasn't, I mean, it shouldn't have been unusual to see me have chemo on Friday, but be singing on Sunday.
Wow.
Hardly any, but not a lot of people knew. And my hair falling out, and I'm wearing wigs, but I'm fighting as I'm going through, I'm pushing through. But this thing, the Negro College Fund in the States had a statement saying that the mind is a terrible thing to waste.
Yes, indeed.
Your mind is extremely powerful.
Indeed.
In fueling your desire, your energy, and your determination to push through whatever wall is presented to you. Absolutely.
It's all about mindset.
It's
power
really
of
huge.
The mind. The mind is what creates. It said,
really
and also from the mind and from in our heart, we speak.
Exactly.
And when we speak, and we speak life, it puts us. That's why it's very important that we speak life about ourselves.
Absolutely.
And we speak life about others.
Absolutely.
I mean, you know how many family has cursed themselves? By speaking negatively to each other? And that's why we have to have, that's why I call this positive and uplifting conversations, because words are creative. Words create feelings.
The Creator spoke things into
being. And so can we.
And we're supposed to copy that.
I mean, this
life.
This channel we're doing right now, this was spoken into existence. What we're doing was something that was spoken, that manifested. God brought Jake from Kenya to get this thing all happening. Amazing. That's another story. I mean, you got to get the book, because there's something about that. It's just, I won't even talk about that now, but just to show you, when you believe in something, and Mike knew that. Mike, how many years? This is my jeweler. Mike know how many times I've been to his shop and tell him about what I'm going to do. He didn't even know that he was going to host me. Right? He wasn't living here at the time.
It's amazing.
And this is years of speaking these things, and it's now manifesting. So I'm saying this to you, who audience is listening. Don't doubt yourself. Believe, put actions to your words, and you will see it manifest. Thank you so much for sharing that. It's beautiful. Now, question for you. How have readers responded to Lord, I Trust You, and how has it impacted their lives?
Oh my goodness. You know, we have had some very interesting feedback. Somebody, when I wrote Lord, I Trust You, and also there's a song that goes, it's made up of. Lord, I Trust You is a song that my brother had written. And somebody told me that they were going into surgery. They had read the book.
Yes.
They were going into surgery and they had my songs playing, and they said they needed it played until they rolled them into surgery, because they needed to have that mind that they were going to come out. And I nearly wept when I heard that. But the feedback people have said, so I know one individual has said, you know how many times I've read this and I've needed this at a time when it looked very bleak. And I didn't know whether I could still trust God. And I didn't know what tomorrow was going to look like. And I wasn't sure if I was going to be here next week. And so, you know, sometimes we think that if you're a writer, you may not put emphasis on what you've done, but your words can, again, as Clarence said, your words can impact lives. And I'm so grateful that what I did not know how it would affect, but the feedback has been very positive.
Beautiful, beautiful. And that's why, you know, we can't just live our life in fear and not doing what we are called to do, because you don't know, by you not doing what you're supposed to do, not only are you robbing yourself of the opportunity of benefiting from it, but so many other lives that can benefit from what you do, but because of your fear and doubts and unbelief that can hinder you. And one thing I've said, you know, avoid negative conversations and negative individuals, people with low energy, going nowhere, that's going to doubt you and tell you can't do it. Okay? Go beyond. Be like the frog, the deaf frog that wasn't listening to them. He kept jumping till he got out of that hole. That's another story. Let's move on. Sometimes you got to have a deaf ear to some people, you know?
Yes.
What message of life lessons do you hope readers take away from your books?
My hope and prayer for whatever I write, you know, Stronger Resilience, is that my hope is that I'm a hope dealer. I'm not a drug dealer, I'm a hope dealer. My hope is that something that you read in the book, even if it's one chapter, one line, one paragraph, will impact you and change your way of thinking about a situation. The mind is a very powerful thing. My son said something to me a few weeks back, and he said, Mom, when you change your environment, it changes the way that you think. When you change your environment, it changes the way that you look at things. And I kept talking about that to my family and saying, you know, he said a very powerful thing. So, for instance, my prayer and hope is that when you read the book, that it impacts you in such a way that what you thought you couldn't do, you start making steps. Don't just think about it, don't just feel good about it, but that you actually start making actual practical steps to put things into place for what you're trying to achieve.
Absolutely.
If you're wanting to be a good cook, hang around good cooks. Find a chef, take a class. You've got to invest some coin towards becoming what you want to do.
Absolutely.
Right? It's going to cost you something. But you have to be willing to put in the time, the effort, the money to do that. So my prayer is that you don't just read it and let it stay there, but you can see yourself in one of the stories, whether it be something in the mind, something in the body, somebody who lost a phenomenal amount of weight because they said the buck stops here. I've got to start putting into action for things to change. So that's my prayer, that you gain hope. But that hope doesn't stay there. It actually goes into action.
You know, you said something that just triggered me. I want to say to you, audience that's listening, the cost of failure is greater than the cost of success.
Say it again.
The cost of failure is greater than the cost of success. So the effort you got to put in to succeed, it pays greater dividends I have a quote that I wrote. It's better to have short-term pain and long-term gain than a season of pleasure and a life of pain. Get the book. That's why I wrote Nourishment for the Soul, because, you know, as the scripture said, man shall not live by what?
Bread.
Bread alone, but by?
Every word.
Word, the word that proceeds. And people don't understand that God also uses us to establish His word.
Absolutely.
We think it's just always just a written word, but it's the rhema word of God.
Absolutely.
God can speak to us to speak to you, and that word itself can just bring life to you.
Absolutely.
That's the beauty of singing the word, writing the word, and
There's so much
speaking the word.
power. There's so much power. Somebody can tell you that you're worth nothing.
Yes.
You're worth nothing. And if you hear a lie often repeated,
Yes.
is believed. So what say you about a truth often repeated?
Yes.
That you're valuable,
Yes.
that you're a masterpiece,
Yes.
that you've been created to good works. That's all what the Word of God says.
That is true.
That the plans that He has for you,
Is to prosper.
they're good for you
Yes.
to prosper.
Yes.
You read that, believe that, and actually hold on to it.
Yes.
It'll change the way that you think about yourself.
Yes.
You're fearfully and wonderfully made.
Yes.
I know that I am.
Absolutely.
Cancer may have eaten a part of my body,
Yes.
but guess what? It didn't take my life.
Yes. Yes.
And it doesn't have to take yours.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it be finances, whether it be illness, it may be in your life right now, but it doesn't have to take your life.
Absolutely. You know, I have an antidote. For those of you who are around negative people, I have an antidote for that. It's not what others think, say, or believe about you that matters. It's what you think, say, and believe about yourself. Now, I'm just going to just do a little something on that. Why I say that is this. Someone can tell you how great you are. If you don't believe it and act on it, you'll never be great. Someone can tell you you're worth nothing, and if you like the deaf frog and you believe in yourself and you put in the work, trust me, the Lord will spread a table before you. Where?
In the presence
of who?
Enemies.
Yeah, let them live so they can see the table spread. Let's move on.
This is good.
Overcoming challenges. As a two-time breast cancer overcomer, can you share some of the challenges you faced during your journey and how you overcame them?
Yes, you know, you just talked about it. One of the things that I coach women who might be going through that challenge, a health challenge, or anything, to stay away from negativity, because what you feed your mind with, you're going to feed your body with.
Yes.
Because your mind is very, very powerful. I've learned, and it has been proven, I've been told by an educator that there's a main nerve in our body, the vagus nervous system,
yes,
that if you think a negative thought, you dwell on it long enough, it has a way of manifesting itself in your body. It does. So it's very powerful what you feed. So one of the
that was
things
a laughter
I say
agreement.
to people, what you feed your mind with. So I had to overcome people telling me about their aunt or their sister or what happened, the negative thing that happened to their cousin. I'm like, I need life right now.
Yes.
I don't need to know that this happened to them and as a result, they died. So what I did was I shut it down very quickly. I said, thank you, but I believe that I am going to make it out of this. And so I would flip the switch on the negativity that was things. So I surrounded myself with life-giving things, life-giving atmospheres.
Yes.
Spoke life into my children. I read things that would feed my soul.
Yes.
That would feed my soul. I prayed. I did things that would feed my spirit. So what I did was I also studied the disease. And one of the things that I learned was that cancer cells hate oxygen. So what did I do? I fed my cancer cells, these not mine, but the cancer cells
not yours,
inside of me. I fed them oxygen.
Yes.
So I would eat living foods.
Yes.
I'd be in environments like a sauna or massage, anything that would feed, because that life was going to kill the stuff inside of me. So it's very important that you surround yourself, your mind, your body, and your spirit with things that are going to feed life. You know, I journaled. I prayed and I read things that were uplifting.
Yes.
I'm not going to tell you that I had a Pollyanna syndrome where I was walking around saying, oh, everything is just delightful. You know, I had a window after chemo that I could deal with. I would have chemo on a Friday, and I literally got it down to a time. So I knew that window of time afterwards where I needed to be by myself,
right,
where I needed to crash and rest. But I just kept win in the forefront.
You know, it's interesting you say that because, as you know, my daughter was diagnosed with cancer.
Yeah, she's in the book.
And when she was diagnosed with cancer, I knew right away it was not unto death.
Right.
Now, I'm just going to summarize because I want to take a lot of time on this.
Yeah.
But I remember the oncologist came in. She came into the room and she said to us, "We're not God." She gave my daughter over to die. And we didn't even know that. That was the diagnosis that she actually thought she would make, because she had leukemia, she had bone marrow transplant.
Yep.
Shortly after, she went into relapse, and the doctor gave up on her. We shut my wife was with me. We shut the door at the time, and we prayed.
Yep.
I thought the doctor thought we were crazy.
Yep.
And I've lived to see that doctor said, "I believe in prayer too." So this is why I'm saying the power of words.
Yep. And her stories
and the power of belief. And the stories in this book, by the way.
Yes,
all right?
yes.
I didn't want to make it about me, but as you spoke about the cancer thing, I just wanted to give someone hope.
Absolutely.
That even when the doctor says it's not my doctor, our family doctor, who knew that she was given up to basically hospice, she said, just keep on doing what you're doing. Okay, so there's so many more stories you could share, but for time we're going to move on. Now, how has your experience with cancer shaped your ministry and your message of resilience?
Oh my goodness, resilience is my word. Resilience is to bounce back. So resilience is a muscle that you develop. You know, when you go to the gym or your home gym and you pick up a weight, 5 pounds feels light. As then you pick up 10 pounds. 10 pounds is a little heavier. But as you pick up 10 pounds and you develop that muscle, it becomes a lightweight, right?
Yes.
So you have to go to the next one. But you had to start at 5.
Start somewhere.
You had to start at 5 to build it up to 10.
Same thing
Everything
mentally.
that we go through in our life is to develop, I believe, one of the things it does, it develops that mindset and it develops that character of becoming more resilient.
Absolutely.
So, you know, you've gone through the flu, you go through a cold, you realize you can overcome that, you can overcome this, you go through different jobs, through different tests. And as you go through them, never think that anything is wasted.
Right.
You're able to look back and say, just like David when he went up in Goliath.
Yes.
Because I killed a puppy, because I killed this, everything got bigger. It's all practice. It's all strengthening that muscle of resilience.
Yes.
And so that's what I just speak life into audiences. When I'm singing, I'm saying, you know what, I do not believe that there's anybody that is so far gone that they can't come back.
Yes, yes.
There's not. I met somebody this afternoon in the park while waiting who was in a coma for not 1 month, not 2 months. He was in a coma for 3 months.
Wow.
He's alive today. I came down here to do this. I didn't know I was going to have this conversation with this man. But that's just to tell you, everything that you go through is to prep you up for the next
level.
You can make it.
You can. You can. I believe it.
You will.
You will. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. We got hope. You know, there's a scripture that says, jealousy is rottenness of the bone.
Oh, it's cruel as the grave.
It's why it's so important, folks. I'm telling you. Instead of being jealous and envious of others, just unearth the gift that's within you. We all got something to offer. And it doesn't have to be the same. Now, my foot is important. My head is important. But they all need each other. But guess what? The head is more important than the foot. So you got to put your priorities right. And who is the head? The first thing is the head is God. If we make him the head of everything, then nothing is impossible, because it says with God,
all things.
All things. So when the doctor said I'm not God, I agreed.
That's right. Thank you for understanding your position, sir. Or ma'am.
Yeah.
Thank
you know what I mean? It was a man.
Thank you for understanding your position.
Okay, so what advice would you give to others facing significant challenges in their own life?
I would say to you, acknowledge the situation. Many times we're here feeding life, and we're talking positive, and we're encouraging you. But one of the things that I say to people when they're facing a diagnosis,
yes,
whether it be financial, relational, physical, acknowledge the situation.
Yes.
Say, you know what, this is.
Yes.
When people get a diagnosis, they say the diagnosis is not good. I say, well, what is it? I say, let's be thankful.
Yes.
That we have a label for it.
Yes.
Because do you know how many people are walking around sick, but they can't diagnose what the illness is?
That's true.
And they look at me strange and they say, why would you say that? I said, because now I can take that name to the Father and say, this is what the doctors have said.
Yes.
So I can be specific.
Exactly.
So now we can research. Now we can look for things that can benefit. So acknowledge where you are. Understand however great or however sad, however big it is, acknowledge it. Be honest and say, this is the situation.
Yes.
And then I would encourage you to decide, what do you want the outcome to be?
Right.
What is your hope and prayer for the outcome?
Yes.
Are you wanting to get better? Are you believing that you can get better? Do you want to live?
Right.
Because if you can acknowledge it, and you can determine, I want to live. Okay, great, we can take that. So then we ask, what do we need to do to get from earning $10,000 to $30,000?
Yes.
What do we need to do to get from low blood count to high blood count? We can make a plan. We can work with other clinicians or people that know more than us to get from A to B. Acknowledgement.
Yes.
Decide what you want to see, and work on a plan to get from there to successful outcome.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that. Music and ministry. You released 2 gospel music recordings, Draw Me Nearer and Lord, I Trust You. How has your music influenced your ministry and outreach?
You know, music, I said, music is something that I don't know anybody that doesn't like music. I don't know anybody music is...
As Mama is hit me with music.
You know, music is everything.
You don't feel no pain.
It's everything, regardless of the genre that you like.
Yes.
You know, music has impacted my ability to laugh. Because you can be silly and jump up and down. I don't think I can dance. My son can dance. Let me tell you, my son can dance. I don't think I'm a good dancer, but I can move my body, and that's what dance is, right? Yes. So it has really impacted my life, and just touching other people. So seeing the reception from other people, knowing that my words and my music has an effect on other people.
Yes.
I've had people come, I spoke somewhere a couple of weeks ago, and she must have been in her 80s. She was weeping. She was just holding my hands and weeping. She could hardly formulate the words to tell me the effect of what I had said and what I had sung had on her life. That to me was more than any check that you could give me. Yes. Because it impacted her in such a way that it gave her hope. It gave her life. Yes. For that moment. And there were other individuals, you know, that have given that feedback. So, you know, my goal, as I said, is I'm a hope dealer. Yes. I want to see people grow. I want to see them prosper. I want to see them go from A to Z. I want to see them move forward. Beautiful. Yeah. I'm telling you, she can sing, okay? I'm telling you, maybe she can give me a 30-second bite before this is all over, because I don't think she can leave here without giving us even 30 seconds of her thing, because I'm telling you, this woman can sing. She deserves a Grammy. Grammy people, come on, man, what are you doing? Bless you. So how do you integrate your music with your message when you're speaking or leading worship? Oh, Lord. How do I integrate music and speaking? You know, so I speak in audiences, and sometimes they don't know that I sing. Yes. So it actually happens organically. Yes. Where there's either a song that's intertwined in the message to help make the point, or it comes at the end. So a couple of weeks ago, I was speaking on a Mother's Day event to people and saying, "Don't stop believing."
Yes.
And I actually, when I say that, if you were around in the 70s, you remember a rock group that sang this song, and we didn't know the verses.
Yes.
All we knew was, "Don't stop believing." That's all we knew. That's all we knew, right? That's all we knew.
Yeah.
And so, the word is always going to come with a song for me, anyways, because I'm a singer.
Yeah.
So there's always going to be a song that resonates, or a song is birthed out of a word. And so of course, out of that song came, I sang a very popular song that we've been singing for the last couple of years. And in it simply says, there's a vamp in the song that simply says, "You said it, I believe it. You said it, it is done. Can you help me say you said it? And I believe it. You said it. It is done." And what I'm singing back is that God said in His Word something, and I'm saying we believe it. And so because God said it,
it shall be done.
It shall be done.
Amen to that one.
Don't stop believing.
Don't stop believing.
The
I
Leafs
tell you.
may have lost this year.
Yes.
Don't stop believing.
Absolutely.
They could come back. Just like my Raptor boys, they can come back. Don't give up on them.
Don't become a bandwagonist. Believe.
Don't give up on them.
Believe. Beautiful. Now, podcast and future plans. In March 2022, you launched your podcast, Becoming Resilient. What inspired you to start the podcast, and what can listeners expect from it?
What inspired that podcast was a kick in the butt from my husband saying, "Use what you've got and stop waiting for perfection. Just do it." I like to talk to people.
Yes.
I know that is part of my gifting. So I wanted to take the book a little further.
Yes.
And do what you're doing, interacting with people who have had to be resilient in different situations and share their story.
Yes.
They don't need to be necessarily on ET or on a celebrity broadcast. There's everyday people that have come through things, that have something that can benefit somebody else.
Absolutely.
And so that's what the podcast was. And it's called Becoming Resilient because we hear that word a lot. We hear a lot of things about boss lady and, boss man. But there's a thing about becoming. What I want to let you know is that we are all in a process.
Yes.
This is a tag for it. We're all in a process of becoming. I have not arrived. You're hearing me speak and you might think I'm this Miss Wonderful and everything, but trust, there's things that I have to overcome in my character, in my mindset, and I believe that we are all in this process of becoming resilient, of becoming better. And as long as we're willing to acknowledge the fact that we're in a process of becoming, we're open to learning from others, we're open to sharing, and we're open to developing and growing. So we're all in a process of becoming. So that podcast was again to serve to share. We've been on hiatus for a while. We're going to pick back up real soon because it's not over. There's still people that need to be touched.
I smile when I hear that because, I was saying, we don't know what we don't know because we don't know that we don't know what we don't know. Until we do know what we didn't know, now we do know, and some folks just never know. You don't know, as I'm saying, Jamaica. You know what I mean? No, seriously. Because there are people that, because they think they have a PhD behind their name, you know how many people with degrees more than a thermometer? And they're as dumb as a nail? Because they don't know life experiences. So I'm not saying that people with PhD aren't intelligent. I'm not saying that all of them with PhD. I'm just saying that don't think because you have a PhD that you've become someone, because you continue to learn. That's what life is all about. We only know in part. Anyways.
Don't even open that up.
I don't want to start there.
Don't even start.
I don't want to start there. Because then we'll be here all day.
Don't even start.
We'll be here all day. Now, personal insight. How do you balance your ministry work with your personal life, especially considering your commitment to your family and community?
One of the things that you have to learn very quickly, I think that we need to teach our children this, especially young people who are listening and growing up. You got to set boundaries for yourself. You've also got to have values for yourself. You've got to have non-negotiables. So, you know, very ambitious. I'm a yes girl. How can I please you? But if you continue on that trend, as I was, and how I believe was one of the causes, I believe, towards developing that diagnosis of cancer, was just being on a treadmill. I've had to set boundaries, set personal non-negotiables, and review my values.
Yes.
What is valuable to me? What is important to me? I'm not going to be here forever. What do I want to accomplish in a day?
Yes.
In a week?
Yes.
And so you have to set those parameters of what you're wanting to achieve, but you've also got to set boundaries where if it's that 1 hour block, you're turning off your phone, you're closing the door, and you're focusing. So I've had to set time boundaries, physical boundaries, energy boundaries. And what I've been saying to people lately is sometimes, you know, we can take time management courses. I am all for time management, but at this stage of my life, one of the things that I'm learning to do, which is helping to put that in better perspective,
yes, is
I'm managing my energy. I'm managing my energy.
Yes.
We're given 24 hours in a day. There are certain times of day where I am more effective, and there's certain times of day when don't talk to me about bills at 10 o'clock at night.
Yes.
That's a boundary. That's something that we've established in our marriage because it was a fight changer. It was like, let's talk about bills at 10 o'clock when I'm tired and I'm low energy and I'm frustrated, and let's just break out in a fight.
Right.
So we have a rule in our home. So learning to manage all of those things is knowing yourself. You
Yes.
have to know yourself, know your physical strengths, know your mental and emotional strengths, and put boundaries on things, and that will help you. I don't know, we talk about work-life balance. I'm not sure anymore if that's possible, but I know how to manage now. So, you know, manage time with my husband, manage when my kids are calling. My kids know that they can call me any time of the day. It's on. You don't have to excuse or apologize. Because why? Because I place value on that relationship.
Yes. That
is a priority, and that is important. Water is important to me, so I put value on that. So you've got to know what is the outcomes that you're looking for.
Awesome. You know, you said it beautifully. I have a quote that I wrote that drifters live a life of default. People of purpose live a life of design.
That's good. That's really good.
Because if you don't have a design and a plan,
that's good.
You're just floating anywhere and everywhere.
Yeah, that's
right?
Good. Yeah.
So that's the beauty about living a life by design.
That's good.
Now, I have a few more questions before we wrap this up. Final thoughts. What is the most important message you would like to share with our viewers and listeners today?
I would like you to know your life is not over. Every day is a new beginning. I'd like you to know that just because you didn't meet the goal yesterday, you didn't hit the target, start again. You're in a process of becoming. Every day you're getting better, if you choose to. So know that every disappointment, the disappointments that come are just opportunities to grow. You can flip the switch, but you get to choose.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Now, one other thing, where can people find more information about your books, music, and podcasts?
So the latest book is on Amazon. If you want a signed copy, you can reach out to me. The podcast, Stronger Resilience, it is available on Amazon. The music is on Spotify. Draw Me Near is the title of the live recording. I did a live recording. Lord, I Trust You is no longer in print. Right now we're reconsidering whether we want to just put it digital or have print copies. And you can interact with me on social media at Pat Russell Sings on Instagram and on Facebook, Pat Russell. My Twitter account is a little bit silent right now. I'll be honest with you. I'm not tweeting as much, and I'm not on Threads.
Well, thank you so much, Pat, for being here with us. Audience, I hope you enjoy these conversations that we had. Positive and uplifting conversations. We're here to brighten your day and to empower your spirit. And I'm sure we have done that. Please leave likes and comment and subscribe and share with friends, because we're taking this global. We're serious about this. This work is about you, and we are invested in you, and we're going to bring more people on. We probably have Pat on again. I'll probably be on our podcast doing some stuff, because I believe in collaboration, this same teamwork, together each achieve more, and that's what we're doing. So bye for now. We'll see you next time.
Thank you.